Hello crafters and welcome back to the ScrapbookPal YouTube channel. My name is Deepa from Designs by Dee, and today I'm here to share with you this card made using the Altenew Clear Stamps and Dies Pop It Up Blooming Hydrangea set. Now this set is really cool and it's one of the newer ones where it allows you to add dimension to your card without too much extra thought, so it really works for you. So let's go ahead and take a look at those products. The set comes with this stamp set and this one-piece die, and they are made to be used together. So the stamp, as you can see, it has like the leafy bit and then all of these letters on it, and the letters correspond to the flowers that the die cuts out. Now I'm just going to open up the packaging here so you can get an idea of what I mean, and everything is explained on here. So basically it shows you where to place each of those flowers. That's just the stamp set, but on the coordinating die there's a lot more instructions which show you where to place each flower and how to put them down so that it can look exactly like the packaging or the image on the packaging. So I'm starting off with some watercolor cardstock here. I've linked some of that in the description down below. And it's just an A2 size panel, so 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. I'm using my Altenew Stampwheel guides here, so I've put the one down for the A2 sized panel. And the reason why I'm doing this is so that at the end, after I've done all my painting and my panels dry, if I want to re-emboss the image because it's just not clear enough for me, I can go ahead and do that. So that option is there when you use the guides. So I did go ahead and use the anti-static powder tool there in order to prevent any flyaways from getting on my cardstock. I've gone ahead and added some gold metallic embossing powder. And I'm just going to go ahead and heat this with my heat tool. So I like to hit it with the heat tool from the back so that some of the powder can start melting onto the panel. And then I bring it around to the front right on top of the powder because I don't want the powder to kind of fly away. I find this to be the best method. Then I like to kind of tilt the panel after I'm done, because with the metallic powders, when you tilt it, if it's not done properly, you'll see it's a bit more dull, and you can fix that up there. Now I've already started with my watercoloring here, and you can see I'm not doing anything too crazy. I'm just using some Distress Oxide inks in Mowed Lawn and Cracked Pistachio. I've just got a little bit of clean water and a paintbrush. Any old brush will do. You can even use the little brushes from your kids' painting set. And I'm just adding the Distress Oxide inks, the 2 greens there, and I'm really like, there's no rhyme or reason to it. The only point at which I used a bit of technique was to make the portions that are closer to where the flowers are going to be a little bit darker, and other than that I'm just kind of putting the color all over the place to create a variation in the 2 colors. This background here is meant to be artistic, so if you're outside the lines, anything like that, it doesn't matter. It's going with the look and the feel that I'm going for. So now I'm going to turn my palette here. Now keep in mind this is just a piece of cardstock that's been laminated. You can use anything you want to kind of press down an acrylic block or anything to press down your inks to then add them to your cardstock. Now I'm just basically kind of doing a wash here in the background. And what a wash is just like you're taking your color and you're kind of just filling in the background with more water than paint. So even though I'm using black soot here, which is a pretty black, I'm actually watering it down, making it have more of a grayish tone to it. And I don't want it to be one consistent color. Like I said, I want it to have more of the artsy effect. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to just add dabs of black here and there to kind of add darker areas, have some lighter areas, add some streaks along the edge from the top down and the bottom up. And then I'm also going to do another little trick here, which I think is always useful to do and helps meld together your project. So you can see I'm still adding the little dots here, but what I'm going to do is now I'm going to grab one of the colors that I'm going to be using on the flowers, and that is dried marigold. So I've grabbed that. You can see that in the bottom left on my palette. I have squashed it down there, and then I'm just taking little bits of it with a smaller brush, or you could just use the very point of the brush that you have. Just add some extra streaks with that color. Now that's going to tie in the color from the flowers to the background, and it just makes everything like a little bit more cohesive. You don't have to do it, but I find it does add a little bit more and gives your card just a little bit more flow. Now, for the actual florals of the hydrangea, you can see we have this one piece die, and if you pull that off, you have all of these instructions. And all of those letters correspond to each of these. You can see that it is embossed with the letters on there. So every one of those flowers has a place to go, and it's all marked out and indicated there on that packaging piece. So go ahead and keep that. If you're someone who uses pockets, keep all that information. So you can see here, here's the embossed letter. I've got a Z and an S on these two. All of them have letters other than the little centers that it cuts out to put on the middle of these flowers to cover up those embossed letters, but we'll get to that. Now, you can see there's two portions here. The top half goes from A to L or M, I think, and then the bottom half does the second half of the alphabet. And all it's doing is really showing you that the red and the blue go on at different points. So I kind of separated these into three sections. I have the middle section, the bottom section here. I've put down all of the letters that I'm including in each section. And then this is the top section. I've done this because these are going to be different shades and different colors. I want the flowers that are going to be kind of hidden underneath the top ones to be darker. There are a few that are kind of mid-tone in the center, and then the ones on the top are going to be much lighter. So we're going to bring you from a darker stem and background into the lightest flowers at the top, and that's where that dramatics occurs. It's where the drama occurs. So that's kind of the feel I was going for on this card. So I've laid all of them out on my Altenew sticky mat, and I'm just adding color now. So for the lightest flowers, which I've put on the left of my my mat here, I'm using some spun sugar and the dried marigold. The dried marigold I'm heavily putting in the center, spun sugar towards the outsides of the flowers. And I like the two-tone look. I tend to come in with the spun sugar, then the marigold, then the spun sugar again to blend. For the middle flowers, so these are the ones that are kind of in between the light and the bottom and the top, or the light and the dark. I've got some of the dried marigold on the edges there. Again, I didn't do anything too specific. And then I'm also adding some Villainous potion. Again, these are all Distress Oxide inks, and everything that I'm using, including the inks, are linked within the description below. Then I'm going to move on to the bottom flowers. These are flowers that are going to be hidden behind most of them, and they're going to be Villainous Potion for the most part. And then I'm going to add a bit of that black soot on the edges just to darken it up a little bit. So this then ties in all of the colors. So the background, the black soot, and the dried marigold is tied into the colors of the flowers. And like that's my little trick for creating a bit of flow. You can always do that not only to the flowers and your background, but also to the leaves. It seems a little weird to maybe add a pink or an orange, but just a little hint of it, it doesn't look silly, and it just ties everything together. So I did dry up that background, and after doing that, I have cut it down. I took about 1/8 of an inch off the top and the side just to give it a little bit of a border. And now I'm using my EK tool here. This is just basically roughing the edges up. It cuts out a bit of it, and then you can see some of the watercolor core there, the lighter color. So it just looks really nice. It gives it a nice vintage, artsy look, mixed media kind of look. So I thought that went very well. Now I'm going to go ahead and start adding my flowers on here. Now, I chose initially to take the glue and put it on the letter and then put the flower down, but the better method would be to put the glue on the back of the flower, and then you can kind of put the flower down, lining up the letter with the letter that's on the panel. And you'll notice these letters, they're not all the right way around. Some of them are at like 45-degree angles, some of them are at 90-degree angles. That's all dependent on how the flower is to be placed, and that's done purposely. So you have to line up your flower with that embossed alphabet letter in the exact same orientation as the alphabet letter that you have on your panel. And that's how you're going to get it to look exactly like the product is intended to look like, right? Like it does on the packaging. Now keep in mind, we're craftspeople. We're artsy people. We don't have to follow the rules. And I think that's the best part about crafting, right? So you don't have to. put it the way the letters are. You can put it any way that you want if you really wanted to. You don't have to use that guide at all. Just place the flowers wherever the heck you'd like. If you can visualize it and just, you know, put the flowers where you want, you don't have to follow the alphabet. It's still going to look really good, and it's still going to give you that beautiful dimensional look with the pop-it feature that it has. Now the pop-it feature depends on you putting just a little glue dot on the back and placing it down. And then once we've got all of our florals placed down where they're supposed to go, then all you have to do is kind of zhuzh up the flower petals, like curl them up a little bit here and there, and that gives you that pop-it-up dimension that this product is intended to create. So I have used my tweezers here. I found them really helpful. These are the Spellbinders reverse grip tweezers. Really, really helpful for this process. Any tweezers will do. You're probably going to need them if you are lining up those letters. And you can see it already looks amazing. And here I'm just going to use my tweezers and my fingers to do that zhuzhing up that I talked about. We're just kind of folding up those ends there. And you'll see at the end from the side view that I've got a lot of dimension going on there. It looks really pretty coming off of that flat background. Now, as I briefly mentioned earlier, I do want to touch on it again. Sorry. The flowers, or sorry, the packaging gives you like an idea of where to place each flower. They're broken down into red flowers and blue flowers from the first set of the alphabet and the second set of the alphabet. You put down the red flowers first because these are the ones that are going to be behind, and the blue flowers tend to go on top. And that's the way that goes. Now I'm going ahead and putting this sentiment on my card here. I've kind of tried to keep it parallel with the way that the flowers flow, so I thought that that gave it a better look. Initially I had put it down with my foam strip where it was kind of not at the same angle and it looked weird, so I took it off and I kind of straightened it out. And now I'm using some Spellbinders gems. I've got different colors here. I think I've got peach, blush, and graphite, but I don't think those ones are available in the store. However, they do have equivalent ones in onyx and berry, so I've linked those down below. You can use anything you want. You could even use the prism ones. Those look really good with these. And you don't have to use the gems if you feel like it's too many. These are a lot of flowers, and if you want to preserve your gems and not use too many. The one-piece die with the pop-it-up set, it cuts out tiny little flower centers. So you could actually keep all of those, cut it out of black cardstock or whatever color you want for the center of the flowers, and glue those down instead, which is a little more cost-effective for your project. But I really love the gems, so I had to go ahead and add those, and they just give it more shine. You can see my card, I messed up here. It's completely backwards. Luckily, I had adhered the painted panel with strong adhesive, but not that purple background panel. So I was able to remove it and place it down in the right way. So I hope that you enjoyed this video today, and it has kind of introduced you to the Pop-It-Up series from Altenew. They're really cool. I think the idea is amazing, and I hope that you like this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Everything I've used is linked in the description below, available in the ScrapbookPal store. See you again next time. Bye.